Good. Good. I just got back from the barber, as you can tell. I've had a beard, I think, full time since 2007. Before then, I would grow some kind of beard or a goat like this and then shave it off. A couple times a year, I'd go back and forth. And then I grew a beard. I think it was 2007. It might have been 6, 7, 8. And I haven't shaved it since then. I've let it grow various lengths. I'm not sure what inspired me to do this, but I like it. Anyway, today I want to talk about the stages of meditation. And I recognize that language is a bit fraught, right? Because stages implies that there are checklists or measurable accomplishments towards which we strive. And it's not, the way that I'm talking about it here is not like that. It's more like there's a process of deepening and maturation that moves between these three different phases or stages over the course of a lifetime, over the course of a retreat, over the course of a meditation session, from the moment that you sit down on the cushion to the moment that you end. There's very much this sort of interplay between the three stages. And here's what they are. Here's how they break out. Right. So there is the practice of calm abiding, stillness, the first. Then there is insight. And then there is authentic presence. So if I take each of those individually and speak of them as if they are unique slivers or stages, and then at the end come back and kind of combine them. So we start by trying to acquire a certain stability, a calm abiding in the body and in the mind, and the practice starts with concentration and focus, with the objective being to reach this level of equanimity where we are not distracted. Our mind ceases to follow every thought. We still have thoughts, of course. We still have sensations and phenomena that arise, internal and external. But we stabilize our posture and our mind so that these luminous attributes of the phenomena of being simply appear and don't demand a reaction from us on the cushion, or equanimity extending into our daily lives. Right, we start to see benefits of more thoughtful reactions to our emotions and the emotions of people around us. We start to have some space to consider, right? To study in a broad sense, study dharma, but also to study our reactions. Calm abiding, leading to equanimity. Then the second stage, and again, a stage that comes along with the first, but let's for now focus on the second stage, insight. And at that point, the practice shifts a bit and focuses on the nature of those phenomena, right? So if our first position was to not be distracted by the phenomena, And now we turn our attention to the nature of those phenomena and the impermanence of all of those arisings, whether they're emotions, external events, physical sensations, all of those aggregates, form, feeling, mental perception, all of those are impermanent. And the outcome of insight practice is to recognize experientially the impermanence of those objects. Right? We start off with a very clear intellectual understanding of impermanence. That's fairly straightforward to get to, particularly at the macro level, where obviously things change. It's the end of summer here now, the beginning of fall. Clearly the season is changing. Clearly day and night change. Clearly my body has aged over time. Clearly within the course of a day, I sleep, I wake up, I'm hungry, I'm not hungry. I eat, I work. I move through a series of phases that are quite broad and easy to see. Then on the cushion, I start to be more precise, and I can see that even within the course of a breath, thoughts arise, and then they disperse, right? Emotions arise. And without the additional energy of sustaining those emotions, how long do they really last? And because because we have now reached sort of equanimity, we can observe that. We're not distracted by the thought, and so we can see that the thought of any type is impermanent, is conditioned, arises, exists with its own natural span, and then dissipates. So, second stage, insight. Third stage, authentic being. Right? So, with that wisdom that comes from insight, what is the necessary response? How should we behave ethically, emotionally? How should our relationships with people, with events, with the environment? The end of the authentic being is the practice of no practice, right? The letting it be, allowing things to arise, to be as they are. Insight allows us to see their nature, and then this final stage of authentic being allows us to let it be as it is. And it's tricky, right? Because if we're distracted by the thoughts, we can't allow them to be what they are. If we don't recognize the impermanence of a feeling, we can't allow it to be as it is. These filters of attachment and ignorance prevent us from letting it be because we're following distraction. We're following our interpretation of the thought. We're following the energy required to attempt to make something permanent that is impermanent. All of those, we can be tricked into thinking we're letting something be as it is, when what we really are is distracted or unaware of the nature, like fighting against the nature of the experience. So all three of those move in a process of maturity, but asynchronous. Right? Within the course of a sitting, I may need to start with a fair bit of effort to focus my mind. But perhaps at a certain point I can let go of that effort and reside for a moment in open space. And then perhaps within that I witness a thought, and I'm reminded of the Dharma teaching that thought is impermanent, and then observe it and recognize my broad stability, allowing for authentic being. Compassion. Authentic being is another way of saying compassion. So within all of that, you know, am I sitting in a space allowing things to happen? Or is the space, the consciousness, defined by the things that are happening? Yeah. So I think these are useful tools to assess experience during a meditation sitting, a session, or in general as we are practicing and studying, is to recognize where on that progression certain pieces of wisdom, certain teachings fall, because it does help to have a framework. But I think it's really important to note that you don't sit and then say, okay, now I have calm abiding, now I'll move to insight. Check. Now I have calm abiding, now I have insight, now I can let things be. Check. It's necessary to present it that way in teaching, because we need different levels of guidance and direction, and being as precise as we can is helpful. So, there we go. Levels of enlightenment. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop a comment if you have a question, or an email, or I guess it's really one of those two. You can try to appear in my dreams, but I don't know how to do that. So maybe you do. Maybe you're a dream walker and you can appear in my dreams tonight and say, Andrew, I didn't get what you were talking about in that video on the stages of meditation. Dumbass. You would tell me, say it differently. So with that, though, keep your wits about you.